Hello, thanks for dropping in. I have in front of me a very old 1541 and a newer version. The 1541, of course, this one is white, matches the Vic-20. This one is brown, matches the Commodore 64. They are essentially the same, even though, yes, they are different. I have not looked inside, but over the course of the life of the 1541, the circuit board went from being as long as this whole thing to perhaps about 2/3, 3/4, and then eventually the circuit board got to be about, maybe 1/3 the size. And that is, of course, when eventually they decided, we can save a lot of materials and plastic and metal and other things by making the 1541-2, which is much shorter, with an external power supply, same power supply that worked in the 1581, and the 1571-2, which I have actually never seen, but I hear. So they were able to compress and make use of the same power supply and, keep the factories going while maximizing their vertical integration, as they said. So be it. Anyway, now this one I have not tested. This one is still undergoing its tests of the check disk program, and you know what? It takes a long time. And I am not really interested in watching it go on for a long time. So what I'm going to do, because it is now up to track 21, so it's maybe a little more than halfway through, and it seems to be doing fine. I really want to test this drive. And unlike the 4040, which was a dual drive, made for the PET primarily and such, there were commands that could be issued within the drive, and the drive would just go ahead and do things. This is not the case. With this, the program is telling it one by one what to do, what to check, and all that. And it is testing the disk. I'm going to press run and stop, and at the next moment that it has a moment, it will break. Now, is this necessarily the best thing? No, it is not. But so be it. I'm going to turn this drive off. I'm going to take my test disk out. And slide these forward a bit. So what I'm going to basically quickly do is disconnect the serial cable and plug it in by feel, which is not always wise, but I can do it. And take the power cord and plug it in by feel, which is not always wise, but I will do it. Then I will turn this drive on. It also seems to be responsive, much like the original drive was. It turns on. The red light comes on. Note, the LED in this is square. I think the drive mechanism used in these was called neutronics. I like this better. But apparently these drives, once the read-write head fails, they're pretty much screwed. And these drives, apparently, the read-write head is more apt to fail. So this drive does seem to come alive, and it's very pretty. Not perfect, but very pretty, very free of scratches. Quite lovely. But does it work? I have typed in load, quote, $, quote, $8, which is how we load the directory. Because there's no command that will do it for us in BASIC 2. And we will see what happens. The light comes on, the light goes off. I will list the directory, and I will see that indeed it came up. It seems fine. If you watched my last thing, I talked about using short forms. I'm going to type in load, P-E asterisk quote, $8, and hit return. And it goes, and it searches, and it finds, and it's loading, and it's done. I'm taking this disk out because this program will destroy whatever's on a disk, the performance test. Now, if you look at this disk, you'll see a little silver piece over the write protect notch, which means it will not destroy this disk if I accidentally do this. It'll tell me, I think it'll tell me write protect on. So I will take my test demo, not my test demo, that's my test demo disk. This is my blank disk that I test disk drives with. And I will type in run. And I will hit return. And it will go, and it will format the disk. You may have seen this before. They're all much the same, but still, these tests are important. Especially if you're going to use a disk drive or something, or imagine you have more 1541s than you know what to do with. I don't know who that could be. And you may be interested in selling some. It's good to be able to say, yes, I tested this. Now, it's a funny thing. I've also heard people talk about there's a difference in these things. You see that on the 1541 down here, the Vic-20, the ones are the same. They both have a little kind of serif at the top. And I don't know why they did this. Maybe it looked silly. But this one, the one on the 1541 has a big serif, but the one at the end doesn't. So some people call this drive the 154i. I do not know why. I suppose if they had stretched it out, this one would have been farther away, and it would have looked silly, I suppose. I remember when I took graphic arts and such in high school, there were, because we would actually take letters out of, this is like the California job case and other things, and there were some letter combinations that were actually together. Because if you put them separately beside each other, they looked silly because of just the way the spacing worked out. So maybe that's why. I don't know. Anyway, this is, it's formatted or nude or initialized or whatever. It's wiped out the disk. And now it is opening a write file. It has. Anyway, as I say, this one is very lovely. Very, like, I'm just looking for scratches, which I don't see. So this would be a great candidate for a museum or for an avid collector that is looking for something that is beautiful. It's beautiful. Anyway, it is running the test. Now, one of the things that has plagued me in recent times about getting things tested and sorted and figured is I seem to leave things around and then I end up with a work area that I can't work in. But I'm trying not to do that. But I had this other disk drive running this, so I've not moved it yet, but I will. I will indeed. Works, and I will actually type on here, put on here. Beautiful. So I'm already, oh, it has passed the test. Hallelujah. Not surprising. Not at all. Now I suppose what I could do at this time, but I'm not going to try it right yet, is, see, I may try this later. I can hook up more than one disk drive to a Commodore 64 or a Vic-20. And if they're all the same device number, and they have disks in them, it is, and they're working fine, it's possible that I could run the check disk program on a bunch of them at once, and they would be all hooked up together, and it might even work. I have not tried this in a long time, but I think it would. Anyway, I put in the check disk program on this one, and that is interesting. This one, we'll see as this gets on. Oh no, here we go. No? The other one was making a lot more noise as it changed tracks. Like with each block, and it seemed to be taking longer. This one seems not to be doing that, but we'll see. Oh no, here we go. Yeah, now we're into track 3 and it's doing the same. So once again, I can, with great care, turn this on its side. Oh, another thing that you would notice, perhaps, is the early 1541s did not have as many air vents. And of course they did find that with the power supply in there, at times, because, you know, people were using these sometimes to run bulletin boards, and they would be on continuously for days, weeks, months, years. So airflow is important. I did see this cool thing. It was a fan that actually fit over the top of the 1541 perfectly and had a fan at the side. And it would help keep things cool. Anyway, let me write down the serial number. I think it says AH 1 2 7 1 3 5. And why do I write that? So I know. Yeah. Oh, I need to write November 2021. You ask why I have to write the date. Well, sometimes things sit around. Now that, of course, will cause a little airflow disruption, but this is not going to be on for weeks, or days, or months, or years. I will just slide it back here. So, I am going to test more things, little by little by little. I am. But right now, this can sit here, and it can also do some of its testing. And I will see what else I can find. I do have a vast number of 1541s to test. Vast number. Vast. By the way, another thing that is handy, and I don't know if you know, but sometimes I've been on TV shows and in movies and things. And being on a set is a beautiful, magical thing, unless you hate it. If you like it, you put up with all the sitting around and waiting. But one of the things lately, of course, is that everybody has a phone. And, of course, they have cameras on them. You're not supposed to take pictures on the set. You're not, so don't. Just don't do it. But, of course, they don't always have enough plugs around for people to charge their phones. So it is really, really good. And the reason I mention this is because right now, the iPad that I'm recording on, I noticed it wasn't dead or close to being dead, but it was a lot closer than I would like. And I would hate to think that I was in the midst of recording and have it die. So there are these things, these battery packs that you can get that you can keep in your pocket and plug in, and it will give your phone another blast. Now, the little one I first started with would probably do one charge. It would. But that was handy, like if you're away for 12 hours or whatever, as long as you don't use your phone too sparingly, and of course turn the screen level down so it's not so bright and using up so much power, it would probably get you there, with a full charge and get you home, and you'd be fine if you needed to contact anybody. Anyway, the reason I mention this is because this iPad was getting low, and I was like, oh no, I have stuff to do, I can't be, waiting for this thing to charge. So I have grabbed one of those things. This is a more advanced one. I don't remember the name brand. It has a little readout on it that tells you the percentage that it is charged to. And when you plug it into something, you press a little button and it tells you the percentage that the battery is charged to, and then it sets about charging your device. So while I'm recording, the iPad is charging. So that is a good thing. Perhaps I'll do another video just on the goodness of that, because when you are a background performer or an actor or anything, you want to go there, you want to do your best, and you don't want to be a trouble to them. So asking people, oh, do you have a plug, do you have a charger, do you have a cord, asking other people, it gets a little tiring after a while. And of course, that's how some people lose their cords and their chargers and other things. So it's good when you go on such things to be self-reliant. Anyway, this disk drive is doing its thing. I am a little bit thirsty. Cheers. So I'm going to leave this to test. I will put my magic erasers up there. I don't know. I suppose I will. I mean, even though this looks beautiful, there's always a little schmutz from the many years that these things have existed, which is now approaching perhaps 40. So I probably will give this, even though it looks lovely, I'll probably give it a little once over. Maybe even a once over twice. Anyway, so this is checking the disc. Once again, I have a blank disc in there. I don't know if it would hurt the other one, but I'm not going to risk hurting the test demo disc. But it's good, as I say, to give these drives a little exercise. We could all use a little of that. So, I have my notes, and I will carry on. And as I say, I have a lot of 1541s to look through. I have a whole bunch that belong to T-Pug, and I don't know if you know this, but the World of Commodore is coming. And it's going to be, as they say, a hybrid event. In other words, there will be people who are actually there in person, and they will be doing things on Zoom. And I'm not sure if I'm going to be there yet. I'm not. But I've had these disk drives for a while, and then, life comes along, and I really haven't had a chance to even look at them. And how many of them work? I don't know. I think it's really a matter of going through and quickly assessing the drives. And the drives basically consist of the case, the power supply, the drive, and the circuit board. So I think I really have to quickly assess things that are working and try and assemble as many drives that would work out of the available parts. And then, if I have time, I will send them to the World of Commodore, whether or not I go. And I don't know what they want to do with them. Maybe they want to give them to members. Maybe they want to sell them to members. Maybe, I don't know. Anyway, I will try to get at these things. I have so much going on at the moment, but I will try, because right now it's just a little less than a month. If I remember rightly from the post, December 5th is the World of Commodore, and it will be at the Admiral Inn, which is in Mississauga, and it might go through to the 6th if there's enough interest. But I'm not sure in these COVID times how many people are going to come. I don't know. But there will be, last year it was all online, and it certainly will be online as well. So set December 5th aside, especially, and if you're in the Toronto area, go to the Facebook page for T-Pug, Toronto Pet Users Group, and if you have questions, ask them, figure out what's what, figure out if it's worth going or worth attending online. It is a great event. I miss being at it. I'm not sure, still with COVID concerns, if I want to be in the basement of a hotel, in not a small room, but in a closed space, as the winter months set in and it's getting cooler, and that's of course when generally even the flu spreads easier. I'm just not sure yet. I hope by next year, 2022, we're done and away we go. But we'll see. Anyway, I am going to make an attempt to get some drives ready. I am. This is not one of the T-Pug drives. I have to go to the garage where there is a stack of them. I'm not sure how many there are. I have also drives of my own out there. But one other fellow who was involved in T-Pug, named Steve Gray, was the keeper of these drives for a while. And I think he has gone through and left some notes, so that should be helpful in figuring out the final determination of what is what with the drives, I believe. Anyway, I'm going to let this sit. I'm going to see what else that I tinker on today. I am going to... Maybe I will take a magic eraser and try and erase this last 5. But I'm not sure, because, you know, it's part of the history of the machine. It is. We'll see. I don't know. But I am going to, next time you see me record, unless there's just another disk drive up here, I am going to get this table clear so I can keep working and keep getting things done without being encumbered by too much stuff. Because I have, yes, too much stuff. I do. Anyway, this is now up to track 10. Sector 5. It has checked 195 blocks, and I believe there are, well, there's probably more than this, but I think it's 664 blocks free is what an empty disk has, but there's more than that, because there is the directory space. There is. Alright. Another working 1541. Maybe I will go look for another. I can just plunk it on top. I'm also going to look for some tape so I can better secure my notes. Anyway, enough of that. Thank you very much for coming. Don't forget the World of Commodore, December 5th, 2021, a hybrid event that can be attended by people that are close by and people far away. It will be beautiful, beautiful. Onward. Thanks for coming. Bye for now.